Hey guys, it's Tim and this. Whoa. Damn. Something caught my throat. I'll say, hey guys, it's Tim and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Monday, and that means tonight was Monday Night Raw. And I clicked go live, and for some reason I accidentally clicked and closed my notes. So let's open the notes back up. That's weird. Let's do this. There we go. Now my notes are back up. With that, tonight was Monday Night Raw. It was an okay show. I wouldn't call it great or anything. I thought the Becky, Seth, Punk, AJ thing was great. I thought that was super good. But everything else was just all right. Like, if I'm going to be honest, the stuff with the four of them was great. Everything else was just all right. And, how do I say it? I mean, it was an easy show to watch. I will say that for sure. It was an easy show to watch. But here's the problem. I'm not invested at all. I really don't care for the Uso stuff. And that being with LA Knight, with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Now, granted, I watched that opening segment deal with Jey Uso, Adam Pearce, and LA Knight. And then later, not long later, but a little bit later, with them in the office. And I'm like, God, why did it take so long for them to sign LA Knight? This man is just, he's WWE. He is sports entertainment. He's perfect for sports entertainment in the WWE style. And it's just like, when we see him in little segments like that and just his on-screen presence, and I guess you could say his acting, he's so good. Because when he's just like, oh, I got to pick a partner? Well, if I got to pick a partner, I pick Jimmy Uso. And it's just like, fuck, this guy is everything WWE is. Why did it take so long for them to sign him? Don't even get me started on Max Dupree. But that, and then the Bayley segment was interesting. That really interested me as well, as far as Bayley and her split personality, yelling at herself and being all hugger Bayley in the ring, but then backstage with Lyra, she was screaming at Lyra like she was the heat. I'm interested, but it felt a little awkward. I will say that. And we'll talk more about all of this in just a moment as we talk about one new thing that was announced today, non-WWE related, but that we can tie in to WWE. And I'm going to read, where is this? Hold on. Because all these wrestling fans are all mad about WrestleMania in Saudi. Yet Saudi and fanatics are doing a flag football tournament deal with NFL players, and nobody's mad about that. Actually, they're praising it because we get Tom Brady back on the field. So let's pull this up here. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find that People Magazine article because they had the best little write-up that I've seen so far. Let me find it again. Here we go. So People Magazine does write, Tom Brady is coming out of retirement for a third time. Everything you need to know about his return to the field. The NFL legend is said to play in the Fanatics Flag Football Classic at Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on Saturday, March 21st, 2026. Tom Brady is coming out of retirement for a third time to play in the inaugural flag football tournament. On Monday, September 15th, it was announced that Brady, Fanatics, Fox Sports, and OBB Media have teamed up to put on the Fanatics Flag Football Classic, a global flag football event scheduled to take place at Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, as part of this year's Riyadh season. According to a press release, the event, scheduled for Saturday, March 21st, 2026, will feature 3 teams of 8 players competing in a round-robin tournament, with the top 2 teams advancing to a championship match. Each game will follow Olympic-style flag football rules, played on a 50-yard field with 2 10-yard end zones, and 5-on-5 on a 5-on-5 format and 2 20-minute halves. Each team will be made up of current and past football stars, as well as world-class athletes, marking Brady's first official return to the field since his second retirement in 2023. In addition to Brady, other confirmed players include Rob Gronkowski, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyreek Hill, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Sauce Gardner, Myles Garrett, Brock Bowers, and Max Crosby. The tournament will be broadcast live on Fox Sports and streamed on Tubi. That's a big one for Tubi. With Kevin Hart as the host. Pete Carroll, Sean Payton, and Kyle Shanahan will be the coaches. And then they just say further details will be coming as we get closer to this tournament. Now, the big question with this tournament is, so we're getting, if it's round robin style, so what we're going to get is what? 4 games? You got team 1 versus team 2, team 1 versus team 3, team 2 versus team 3, and then the top 2 teams from that face off. So about 4 matches. But that's not even the whole of it. That's not why I'm bringing this up. I'm bringing this up because now I'm going to pull up this tweet here from Fox Sports. No. The Bleacher Report tweet, I think. Which one is it? I think it's the Fox Sports tweet. There's one of them. Where is it? It was either a Fox Sports tweet. Oh, maybe it was. Oh, I think it was this one from Turkey. Now I'm not seeing. But basically, I saw a lot of people praising this, saying, this is cool. This is something we want. Da, 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 da. I saw some of the blood money tweets and the, why do we need this? But the thing is once we got that word last Wednesday, WWE is going to run WrestleMania in Saudi. Everybody was pissed off. Everybody was mad and bitching and moaning. But I don't really see many for this. So what's the difference? Why is it okay for Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski and all these other NFL players and coaches to go do this show, I guess you could say, essentially in Saudi? But when WWE says they're running Mania there, all the wrestling fans are up in arms and pissed off. What's the difference? There isn't a difference. I don't understand the negative of WWE running WrestleMania there and the praise almost of fans saying this is cool. This is something we'd love to see. Oh my God, Tom Brady back on a field. Is it the fact that now American fans are like, now I got to pay for a flight to go all the way to Saudi? Is that why you guys are mad? Is that why American fans are mad and WWE fans are upset? Because now it's going to cost them a little bit more to go to WrestleMania? Well, hey, now you know what people from other countries that fly in for Mania feel like. But I wanted to get that out there and get that off my chest because it's just like, come on. Like this tweet right here. Incredible event. Riyadh hosting NFL legends proves that this season just keeps getting better. Let's see some other tweets here about this. This one says, Bengals better get on the phone and offer him one. Oh, never mind. That's one about they need Brady because Burrow's out. This one says, love it. Tom Brady will never stop playing football. He'll always find a way to get back on a field. This one just says, can I make a fantasy team? I would love to do fantasy for this tournament. There's a thing there. Hey, maybe we do get some sort of a fantasy league for this. I mean, it would be cool. Would be cool. There's going to be some sort of betting on it. This person says, Brady out there as one QB. I wonder who the others will be. This is awesome. Great event here from Fanatics. Another one saying, Olympic style. Are they going to get medals as well? This is really cool. Can't wait to see this. Saudi thanks for putting on something like this. So it's like, you're getting all this praise. But when WWE announces we're doing WrestleMania in Saudi, fans throw a tissy fit, throw a tantrum, get all mad about it. So I don't understand it. I don't understand what's the difference. What's the difference? But with that, I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you're watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of 2 different ways. You can subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get 1 free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I greatly appreciate it if you did right here for Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember, go help us out over on YouTube. You can help us out over there by hitting that subscribe button. That way you know when we post new videos. That way you know when we go live. And that way you know when we post to the community tab. Also, remember, you can help us out by hitting the join button and becoming a channel member. As a channel member, you get a badge next to your name, emotes and emojis you can use in the live chat in the comment section. You get access to our graphics tutorials and access to our graphics packages. Finally, remember, if you want to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air, you can do so by donating a super chat in the live chat. And finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming a free game or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use this code right here, PW Unlimited at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. John Cena's got a new skin in Fortnite. It's Peacemaker. And if you're looking to go buy that, whether it's on your PlayStation, your Xbox, your Switch, your phone, your tablet, your computer, your Amazon Fire Stick, or any other device you got that lets you play Fortnite, well, all you gotta do is go to the store, go to the shop, scroll down to the bottom. It's going to say, do you have a supporter creator code? And you do. It's PW Unlimited. Again, that is PWU NLIMITED. With all of that, we got a couple bit donations here from Esports Gaming Rules. He says, great promo from AJ Lee and CM Punk and Seth and Becky. Did you know WWE didn't show the Riyadh WrestleMania announcement video on Raw? So maybe WWE don't want the, quote, you sold out chance on them and Triple H on Raw. So I think the reason they didn't show it during Raw was because if you're watching on Netflix internationally, you don't get commercials. You're still getting the action and you're still getting extra segments, I guess you would say. So I think that might be why we didn't see anything about the WrestleMania on WrestleMania in Saudi during Raw, because there's just, when they showed it at Worlds Collide, it was during a time when they weren't on the air. Like, they weren't showing anything on the air. So that was the thing. They didn't show it while they were on the air. And so since technically, if you're watching on Netflix internationally, they're on the air the entire time, other than the 4 to 8 seconds when they go in and out of break. Because when they go in and out of break, it goes to a black screen for about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. So that's probably why they didn't show it. But yes, great segment from AJ, Punk, Seth, and Becky. He also says, do you see AEW counter-programming WrestleMania 43 in Saudi as predicted by media and the IWC? Now, I haven't seen any actual media predict this, and no legit media. Like, if you've got some random-ass podcast, and granted, we're kind of considered a random-ass podcast at times as well, saying that on their YouTube channel or their Instagram or whatever, that's one thing. But I haven't seen anyone like a PW Insider, a WrestleNomics, a WrestleVotes, a Torch, Meltzer and Alvarez. I haven't seen, trying to think, John Pollock and them over at Post Wrestling. I haven't seen anybody like credible, I guess you would say, predict that. More just like, hey, it'd be cool if Tony did this, but I don't see it. Now, is there a chance and a possibility? Sure. What I think there is more of a chance, and what I think happens instead of AEW counter programming, I think someone like a Matt Cardona and some other indie guys come together and run a big Indie Mania show. Cardona had been teasing this for a while, and this might just be the best time for him to do it. Now, granted, this is going to hurt indie wrestling a lot, because a lot of indie promotions make the bulk of their money for the year during Mania weekend, running the collective stuff. Like, that is a huge moneymaker. And then all the Cindy area events, Wale Mania and all that. Like, are we even going to get a Wale Mania in 2027? But here's the thing. I think what happens is all of these Mania weekend events, they're just going to shift and be SummerSlam weekend events. I think that's what's going to happen. Granted, you're not going to probably, you may, but you might not have as many people in town as you would for a Mania weekend. But at the same time, maybe you will for a SummerSlam weekend, because so many fans didn't travel to wherever it would have been in the United States, which might have actually been Nashville for 2027. So I think that's something that ends up happening, is everything that would have essentially a WrestleCon and the collective from GCW and all of that would have instead just been, or just gets moved to SummerSlam weekend. I think that's what ends up, because SummerSlam is going to be a 2-night event, and it's going to be a big deal like Mania. So I think that's what happens. As far as Tony counter programming with the big like stadium show the same weekend, I kind of don't see it. Is it possible? Sure. It's a year and a half away. It's a long ways away. So it's kind of too early to predict now, but I don't see it. If I'm just making that prediction right now, I say no. AEW does not counter program WrestleMania because they're in Saudi. But with that, as far as Monday Night Raw does go, the show's going on the air. We see people entering the building. We see the Usos. And all of a sudden, LA Knight comes up and shoves Jay. And is like, hey, what was that all about last week? And they start yelling at each other. And Adam Pearce, a couple referees run in. He's like, hey, stop this. We don't need any of this. And he starts yelling. He's like, you know what? You, Jay, you, Knight, in my office now. And so he has them go to their office. Or his office. He basically was like, you need to do what I say, and you need to settle it down, or you're going to need to be talking to your bankers when you got missing zeros from your paycheck. I was like, oh, damn. He's basically telling them, calm your asses or suspended with no pay. So Joe Tessitore and Corey Graves welcome us to the show, and out comes the never seen 17 former world champion, John Cena. Springfield, Mass is big for John. It's almost like a homecoming for John Cena, because just down the street at Springfield College, that's where John Cena played football. So John comes down to the ring, talks about that, informed the younger fans in the crowd that he played football here. He told the older fans that he was an offensive lineman, so you may not have ever really noticed me playing. And then I saw some people going, why is he got a number 54 on his graphics? Why is there a 54 on the Titantron? Well, that was his football number. 54. So if you didn't know, you didn't know. Now you know. So he said, being an offensive lineman meant you never get your name put in the paper. You got your ass kicked, and you showed up the next day prepared to get your ass kicked again. He said Springfield College prepared him for life and the WWE. And this was a phenomenal promo from John once he started talking about Brock. Cena said that he had friends and family in this building tonight, and he wished his niece a happy birthday because, well, she couldn't be here tonight, and so he wanted to wish her something and wanted to wish her happy birthday. Excuse me. He then acknowledged that there was no stage because this place is packed, and they did the minimalistic stage where we had fans everywhere. Let's see really fast. I didn't look at the WrestleTix numbers. Let's check that really fast. Good question. WrestleTix. WrestleTix says tonight's Raw in Springfield, Mass. did, drum roll please, set up for 7,285. Tickets distributed 7,285. So by the time the show was going off the air, there was not a single ticket left for sale on Ticketmaster as far as through WWE. Sold from WWE in the building. Were there third party tickets from scalpers? Sure, there always are. But technically to WWE, this was a sellout. Cena then said that he enjoyed these moments with the fans and wanted them for a while, but knew that he only had a little while left. He said that his intro called him the last real champion, but Brock Lesnar wanted to end the last real champion. He called Lesnar intimidating, quote, controversial, and nearly invincible. Fans started chanting, fuck you, Lesnar. Fuck you, Lesnar. Cena then said that Lesnar returned to WWE once again and again targeted him. Cena could have used his influence to turn down the match with Lesnar. Saying no was a safe move, especially with only 6 appearances left. The crowd chanted, whoop his ass, and thank you, Cena, thank you, Cena. As the fans were chanting, Cena said that they were the reason he said yes. He was the last real champion. He didn't fight his battles backstage. He fought them right here in this ring. Being the last real champion wasn't about holding the belt or fighting in the main event. The last real champion didn't take their ball and run home. They fought with hustle, loyalty, and respect. Cena admitted, yes, I'm afraid of Lesnar and I could fall, but I'll never back down. He would take the fight to the beast because that's what he does. He said on the history-making WrestlePalooza on ESPN, it would be the final showdown between 2 generational talents. Cena didn't care how many suplexes he got in Suplex City. He said, I created Suplex City, taking your best shots and never stopped. He said that he's taken all of Lesnar's best for the last 20 years, And then he pointed out a guy's sign. He goes, yes. And like this guy in the front row sign says, my jorts are better than Lesnar's jeans. Which, if you didn't see on SmackDown, Brock split his jeans right in the back, giving R-Truth a F5. He then said that he is ready for war this Saturday with Brock Lesnar. And by the time this segment ended, I was like, oh, let's go. He was pumped and I was pumped. This was a great promo by John Cena. Great. This is then when we go to the back to Adam Pearce's office. He's there with Jay and LA Knight. And he's like, what do I got to do to get you guys to stop arguing? Like, you've got WrestlePalooza to worry about this weekend. Jay, you can't be getting yourself mixed up with anything. And LA Knight's just like, I don't care about WrestlePalooza. I don't care that he's got a match at WrestlePalooza. I told you last week I want Braun and Bronson. I still want Braun and Bronson. What are we going to do about that? And he's like, you know what? Okay. I'll give them to you, but you're not doing it alone. LA Knight, you get to choose your own partner to face them in a tag match. And he takes the glasses off. He goes, choose my own partner, huh? Well. And he looks at Jay and goes, I choose Jimmy Uso. And LA Knight's like, or Adam Pearce is like, are you sure? He's like, I want Jimmy Uso. And Jay's like, no, we can't do this. We got WrestlePalooza this week. He goes, again, I don't care about your WrestlePalooza match. I want them, and I want Jimmy as my partner. Jay didn't like it, and it's going to happen. And I'm sitting here watching this going, fuck. This man is made for sports entertainment and what WWE is. LA Knight is like the perfect WWE superstar. He's a great pro wrestler, but a perfect sports entertainer. Like, god dang. It's just so wild that it took so long for him to make it here. Took so long for them to actually do something with him and sign him. Now, back in the day, he wasn't developmental for WWE and they let him go. He then went and worked indies. He went and worked in Hollywood, TNA forever. But now he's proving his worth. He is showing. Yes, maybe when he first came to the main roster as LA Knight after the failed Max Dupree stuff, he was hotter. But he's still proving why I'm a top guy. Fans love me. And I've earned this position. Like, he has earned his spot as like a top guy on each brand. Whenever you put him on a brand, he's a top 5 guy on either brand. And it's so great to see. Because I've been a fan of Eli Drake, LA Knight, whatever you want to call him, for years. He was doing the stuff in TNA, and I'm like, man, this guy is great. He was doing stuff in NWA. And that's when I saw even more of his personality and character come out. And I'm just like, God, if this guy can ever get to WWE, he'd kill it. And he is. Big time. So we had our first match of the night. It was Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. And every time we get a Lyra Roxanne match, it's always really good. It's always really, really good. Ever since their NXT days. So Rodriguez tripped Valkyria from the outside early on in this match. Referee Jessica Carr saw it and said, you're out of here. Perez then applied a cradle, but the referee missed it and didn't really get much of it. There's like a 1 count maybe. After this, there was some chants for both women during the break. Perez cut off Valkyria's comeback and hit a double knees and got a 2 off of it. Perez applied a crossface, but Valkyria powered to her feet and hit a Nightwing and pinned Roxanne to pick up the victory. Basically, almost immediately, Raquel Rodriguez ran back out and attacked Lyra. Her and Roxanne were double teaming on Lyra. She even took a pop rocks before Bayley would run out to make the save. Bayley came out doing all the hugger Bayley stuff. She threw, I think it was Roxanne in the corner, backed up, did the whoa, boom, elbow to the head. Even did a Bayley to belly. And then, yeah, helped Lyra. And then kind of just disappeared. Crowd was happy to see Bayley. Happy to see this version of Bayley. And then we're just sitting here going, I wonder what this is leading to. Bayley then went and started hugging everybody at ringside. She hugged Joe Tessitore, Corey Graves, Alicia Taylor, and a bunch of the fans. So moving forward, Pierce met with Io Sky and Stephanie Vakir, just making their match at WrestlePalooza 100% official, like it already wasn't, and then wished them both good luck. Asuka and Kairi Sane would barge in. Asuka got in Vakir's face. I lost my train of thought there for a second. And told her that, you're not ready for Io. Io's going to beat you. Vakir told her, get out of my face. And Asuka said, oh, you want to fight? You can fight Kairi tonight. You look ready to fight. And Kairi was like, what? Kairi's good at the surprised look and the like, oh crap kind of deal. Like, Kairi's got really good facial expressions. I will say that. And Adam Pearce is like, all right, we could do that. Stephanie Vakir, Kairi Sane, it's official. Asuka then giggled as she left and then did the Kairi. And Kairi's like, oh, guess I gotta go. Takes off. LA Knight meets with Jimmy Uso in the back, and Jimmy didn't think this was a very good idea, them two teaming up later tonight. Knight said that he could trust Jimmy after he helped them last week, so he wants his help tonight. Jimmy said that Knight put him in a tough spot and kind of actually politely said, I kind of decline, don't want to do this, and left LA Knight there. Then I started getting a little confused. Because when you're watching on international Netflix, when they go to a break, we see like a timer in the top corner to show us, hey, this much time's left in the break. But for some reason, from this point on, they stopped doing that. They stopped showing the little timer. So I don't know what was and wasn't during a commercial break, to be honest. But New Day came out, cut a promo. Xavier Woods and Grayson Waller wanted the Mexican driver banned. Kofi said that his home state should be cheering him. But he understood because he's part of this. His part of the state had much more money than the piss hole city they're in right now. And I'm like, damn, you just shitting on Springfield saying Boston's better. Kingston then called Pierce a tyrant and told the fans that they should thank God that they're here tonight. So then we had Penta versus Kofi. A good match, just like the last time. But the difference was Penta picked up the win this time. Kofi won last one. Penta won this one. It's now 1-1. So Kingston did have the control early on due to some distraction. Kingston then cut off Penta's comeback attempt. After the break with an SOS, they traded strikes until Penta hit an enziguri. Penta set up for a Canadian Destroyer, but Woods distracted the referee. Penta super kicked Waller before he could interfere and chased Woods off the apron. And I'm sitting here going, all right, Jessica Carr's the better ref because she ain't putting up with shit. Woods is getting involved all left and right, or at least trying to cause distractions. The first moment Raquel got involved in that last match, she kicked her out. So I'm like, okay. Anyways, Penta hit Kingston with a springboard destroyer and pinned him to pick up the victory. Not much to it. It was only like 7.5 minutes. I felt like they really didn't get a lot of time to get going. Like they worked very well together, but it was just kind of like, okay, cool, whatever. So Jimmy approaches Jay in the back, and Jay was leaving a voicemail for someone on the phone. Jay didn't tell him who it was, though. They had a little bit of a disagreement after Jay told Jimmy that he had to turn down Knight. Jimmy said, I already did. But also was like, I don't like you bossing me around and telling me what to do. What, you got the Ula Fala around your neck or something? And Jimmy stormed off. After a break, Jimmy then found LA Knight and said, you know what? I will be your partner. And Knight said, I'm glad to hear it. There was then a clip of Jey Uso throwing out the first punch from the Red Sox game today. Then we got the best thing on the show. Seth and Becky, Punk and AJ, face to face. So Seth and Becky come out, and the thing to know is Seth came out to his music. Becky came out to her music. Remember that. Rollins introduces himself, saying, welcome to Monday Night Rollins. This is Becky frickin' Lynch. And they talk for a moment before AJ Lee and CM Punk come out to AJ's music. AJ skips down to the ring as CM Punk is walking behind her. She's booking it to the ring. And eventually she gets to the apron and she's like looking around like, oh, yeah, my husband's slow kind of deal. So she gets up on the ring apron, waits for Punk to get down there. They both get into the ring. And Punk introduced him as AJ Lee's husband. He said, I don't plan on wasting any time, like Rollins, with a long-winded introduction explaining who I am. The fans chanted for CM Punk, then chanted for Lee. Punk referred to Lynch and Rollins as goofs and said that they must share the same closet because they're wearing the same clothes. They also came out with 2 annoying songs, but I'm perfectly glad to put my song on the shelf for now so we can hear everything light up. And then he patted himself on the back. Rollins then actually wanted to give Punk some credit. He said, I'm going to do this for the first time. You made a great decision in her. In your personal life, though, you never made one here professionally. Crowd's chanting, shut the fuck up. They're also chanting, no one likes you, at Seth Rollins. He said, however, inserting your wife into this, that's a regret you're going to regret for the rest of your lives. Lee then said, the regret would be for Seth. She wouldn't even be here if he hadn't used his wife as a human shield. Becky said that nobody expected her to come back. It's been 10 years. It's irresponsible for him to even bring you here. She said the Punk only cared about 3 things: himself, Rollins' title, and I guess you. She then said, I read your book, and I know you might have healed mentally. But what about physically? How's your neck doing? And she asked how Punk would feel when I'll be there pummeling your face in at WrestlePalooza. Lynch then called AJ a liability, not an asset. Lee thanked Lynch for reading your book and said, well, I didn't read yours. She then said, I don't know how my neck will hold up this week. I haven't actually taken a bump yet. But you know what, honey? I won 2 championships off this busted neck. And her saying I haven't taken a bump yet plays into the end of this. She said she didn't know what's going to happen. She goes, am I a little crazy? Am I a little neurotic? Yeah, but I'm a Puerto Rican from New Jersey, and I've been known to shank a chick. She said that Rollins you like to have a plan, but I warn you, you can't have a plan and predict for me. Rollins laughed and kind of went down to her level and said, I can handle you. You can't handle me. He's like, you know what, little girl? He said, he may not be able to predict her, but I could read your husband like a book. I know everything he does before he does it. Rollins warned Lee that Punk had a habit of leaving things when they're let down. And Lee better hope to God that she doesn't lose this match and his husband leave her too. Seth, still down at AJ's level, looks even more into her face before AJ slaps him across the face. Rollins said, I'll never put my hands on a lady, but I know someone who would. And he stands there and nothing happens. And he looks back and goes, what about you? Looks at Becky, and Becky goes, me? What? No, what? Go get her. Go get her. She's like, no, I'm not on board with this. And she jumps out of the ring. And Seth's like, where are you going? What are you doing? She goes, 2 times now. You put me in a position I didn't even want to be in. Twice now. Because A, he's the one that accepted the match when she said no. And B, now he's saying, go fight her. Go fight her. Go fight her. Well, it was all a ruse. Because as he's yelling at his wife from in the ring, who's out of the ring, Punk gets behind him and kind of bows up to him. Seth goes after Punk. They go after each other. Seth leaves the ring. Punk then leaves the ring to chase after Seth. And Becky jumps back in. Becky then grabs AJ Lee and hits her with the manhandle slam. The first actual bump she's taken since returning to WWE. And that's the tease from earlier. I still haven't actually taken a bump, so I don't know how I'm going to feel when I actually get taken down. Because, she did that stuff on SmackDown where she was the aggressor. She jumped on Becky. So she's laying there all knocked out. Punk jumps back in the ring to check on his wife as Seth and Becky celebrate what they just did in the aisleway. So very interesting, very good, very, very awesome segment. I liked all of it. Heels got the better of it, and they held their belts up as they laughed at Punk and AJ. So really good. I really enjoyed this. There's then a recap of Dominic Mysterio winning the AAA championship, and I loved this. I loved this, where he's asked by Byron Saxton, what's going on? You won the title, but you were held by El Grande Americano. Can you give us a little context on what's going on there? And he basically responds with, don't worry about that, sweetheart. No, the Intercontinental Champion. I'm the AAA Mega Campeon. How about you just say, I'm the Mega Intercontinental Champion? And then all of a sudden we hear ding, ding, ding. You hear all this noise going on, and Byron's like, whoa, what's going on over there? So they leave Dom, run over, and see Woods is beating the crap out of Penta with a steel chair. Officials and producers and stuff, including the War Raiders, run them off, and they go back and check Penta as they're yelling, we need some help, we need some help. And Penta's like convulsing. I thought he was just start spitting up blood. Speaking of El Grande Americano, he was in the next match here where he took on Dragon Lee. Now, early on, there was a cool segment where Lee used a leaping Hurricane Rana off the top rope to send El Grande Americano off the apron. Dragon Lee followed this up with a flip dive, sending both men crashing into the announce table. Americano took over during a break. He tied Dragon Lee's mask to the bottom rope during the break, kind of like what we've been seeing everybody do against him. Yet Lee at one point hit a Liger Bomb for a 2 and a double foot stomp off the top for a 2 as well. The distraction / interference was there when a mystery man, another El Grande, showed up and tried to attack Lee. Americano then hit a leaping blockbuster off the top for a near fall. AJ Styles would come out, and this is funny. He comes out, and the other El Grande sees him and goes, oh my God. And he jumps down off the apron, slides under the ring, and he disappears. Then Joe Tessitore and Corey Graves jump up and go, AJ, he's under the ring. He's down there under the ring. And so AJ jumps under the ring, and Corey Graves, who also was pointing this out, goes, oh, way to stooge him out there, Joe. And Joe Tessitore's like, wait, what? Like, you did too. Eventually, they come out the other side of the ring. AJ gets the better of it, throws him over the barricade, and then a third masked man shows up out of nowhere, distracts the referee, and shoves Dragon. The other one then comes back up and shoves Dragon Lee. Kaiser then applies a deep submission, and Dragon Lee taps out. So, yeah, very interesting. I think it's Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, but we don't fully know because it kind of almost doesn't look like we don't know the one Tyler Bate one, the one that would be Tyler Bate because it's like a full mask. But the one with the what could be Pete Dunne, like the lips and the nose are showing. So I don't know. Also, Corey, don't be spreading any false info. He says is Tiffany in concussion protocol. So NXT General Manager Ava sent out a tweet tonight stating, hey, after her big title defense last week on SmackDown, Tiffany Stratton's not cleared. Lyra's taking her spot tomorrow at NXT. I think, to be honest, it's storyline from the Nia Jax beatdown after the match. So I wouldn't look too much into that. Is she in concussion protocol? We don't know. So don't just assume because it's probably nothing and just storyline. Now, if she's really injured, that's a whole other story. But don't be making up assumptions and stuff for things we don't know. Unless like there's been let me see something. Has there been like a report since we've been live? Maybe like Fightful had something or PW Insider. Let's see. Hold on. Nothing from Fightful. Let's see if PW Insider has anything. Those are the two that usually get that kind of breaking news. Let's see. They say, yes, the all PW Insider has is the tweet from Ava. So, yeah, I think it's storyline, to be completely honest. So, where was I? Oh, so after the match, all three El Grande Americanos, even though they have different masks on, stood in the aisleway and did the Spider-Man pointing at each other deal. So we then see Lyra Valkyria in the locker room area, and Bayley's got her own personal locker room, which I was kind of confused by. I'm like, why does Bayley get her own locker room? Anyways, Lyra walks up to the door, and the door's cracked open a little bit. So we then hear Bayley yelling at herself. Hey, why'd you go out there and help her? She's like, oh, sorry. She looked like she. And she's like, boom. Then the door slams shut right on Lyra. And Lyra's like, whoa. And so Lyra kind of knocks, knock, 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 and the door opens back up. So she comes in. And Bailey's sitting there on this little couch, and Lyra's like, hey, Bailey, I just want to say thank you for the help out there. You know, I really appreciate it. And Bailey kind of is just sitting there for a second and gets up, and she goes, excuse me? She's going to barge in to my locker room? Coming in? I never told you to come in. You'd be like all them idiots out there? Yeah, idiot! And Bailey storms off all pissed off. I'm like, hey, this is weird. It felt a little awkward, to be completely honest. And Lyra's just kind of all scared and like, oh, did I do something wrong? Crap. So, very weird and awkward. Oh, we then see Stephanie Vicaire. She's getting ready to go out for her match with Kairi Sane when Rhea Ripley would pop up out of nowhere and just wish her luck. Huge pop from the crowd to see Rhea. We get our one Rhea appearance every Monday. And basically, she just was here to wish her luck and say, hey, whether it's you or whether it's Io that comes out this Saturday as the Women's World Champion, I'm coming for the winner. So be ready. So we then had Stephanie Vicaire versus Kairi Sane. And I would say the two worked well together, but the crowd wasn't really into it. And they really weren't into much until Vicaire hit that devil's kiss towards the end. The crowd was, like I said, relatively quiet for the most part. But Sane, until she really went for the devil's kiss, Sane at one point countered into a roll-up and got a 2. Sane followed this up with a DDT and went to the top, but Vicaire followed her up there. There was a battle on the ropes that led to Sane hitting a double foot stomp. She got a 2 off the double foot stomp. Sane then hit consecutive spinning back fist, but Vicaire came back with a headbutt. She connected with his headbutt because for the rest of the match, she had a red spot right up here on the top of her head, and she had a dragon screw. Sane rolled to the outside and kind of into the arms of Asuka. Stephanie then hit a big-ass crossbody dive off the top to the floor onto both Kairi and Asuka, where Kairi kind of got knocked into the announce table. Asuka kind of begged off a little bit. Back in the ring, Vicaire hit Sane with a devil's kiss and a new version of the SVB. Now, is this a new version? Because I remember the SVB being, she's got her here in like a pedigree position, flips her up, boom, drops her on the knee with the backbreaker. And everyone's always been saying, or at least for a while, it doesn't look like a finish. It doesn't look like a strong finish. Well, she did something different tonight that I hadn't seen. She has her in like the pedigree position, picks her up kind of like in an angel's wings, where she's got her straight, like straight up and down, and then flips her forward, boom, double knees to the face. Pins her 1, 2, 3. There we go. So, chat, let me know. Is that a new finish for Stephanie? Is that a new modified version of the SVB? Because I swear the other one was just a backbreaker off the knee, and she kind of just like grazes, falls, the opponent, grazes, falls off the knee, and then whatever. And it never looked like a devastating finish. This did. And it looked great. Asuka then hits the apron and starts yelling at Stephanie Vicaire. Sky then runs down to the ring, and this ramp was long. This aisleway was long. She eventually gets in there. She gets between Stephanie and Asuka, and she's like, Asuka, no. And they start yelling at each other in Japanese until Asuka finally leaves. Stephanie gets right up on Io, turns around, and then the handshake, and yeah, they're ready for their match this weekend. So after the break, there was a little video package from Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. They just talk about how they're going to be dominant tonight and at WrestlePalooza. Then Asuka's in the back, and she runs up on Io Sky and she's being held back by Kairi. Like Kairi's got her arms around her waist, holding her back, and Asuka's yelling at her in Japanese, so we don't really know what she's saying. And basically, Io's like, Asuka, stop. I want to do this on my own. You won your titles on your own without any help. And I want to beat Stephanie by myself. So please let me do that. And Asuka's still just yelling at her, oh, by yourself? You want to be by yourself, huh? Well, blah, blah, blah. And then finally she's like, fine, be alone. And she takes off. Kairi kind of gets knocked down when Asuka gets out of her grip. And then she just, Kairi! And then Kairi's like, oh, she's all tired from her match. She had like a 12-minute match. And she runs off to go be with Asuka. So they're building tension basically between Asuka and everybody. Kairi knows that Asuka's being the jerk here. Like, she knows Asuka's in the wrong, but she's loyal to Asuka is the thing. So very good little dynamic here where Asuka's just a hothead wanting to piss off everybody, not caring who she pisses off. And Io's just like, hey, I'm your friend. You're my friend. We're all friends, but let me do this by myself. I don't need the help. So then they run down the card for this weekend's WrestlePalooza show. John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer for the vacant Women's World Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship is now official. And the Usos versus Braun and Bronson. So let me go to the back, and the Judgment Day are celebrating. They're toasting Dom's big title win. And Finn's not happy. Finn's like, whoa, put the brakes here. What are we celebrating? Like, Roxanne and Raquel didn't have a good night, so what do we need to celebrate? And also, what's going on with El Grande Americano? And Dom's like, it's nothing. He must respect me because I'm the greatest Mysterio there is, the king of the luchadors. And Finn gets mad. He's like, oh, you want to be the king of the luchadors, huh? You want to be a big man on campus. Well, next time the king needs our help, don't expect it. And Finn leaves. And JD's like, I don't know what his problem is, but let me go talk to him. We'll calm everything down. We're the Judgment Day. We're fine. Let's just go. And so he goes to check on Finn when Rusev walks in. Rusev looks at Dom, looks him up and down and goes, I want to introduce myself. I'm Rusev. And just so you know, I am the next Intercontinental Champion. He then looks around, smiles, goes, enjoy your party, and leaves. So they're building up that Rusev will be the next challenger to Dom in the IC title. And if it was me, I'd put that IC title on Rusev. I really would. I would put that Intercontinental title on Rusev next chance they get. But with that, before we get into the main event here, LA Knight and Jimmy Uso versus The Vision, let's hear from our sponsor. Let's be real. Life moves fast and dinner shouldn't slow you down. That's where Factor comes in. Factor 75 delivers fresh, never frozen meals straight to your door so you can skip the grocery store, the prep, and the cleanup. Just heat and eat and get back to crushing your day. Whether you're keto, calorie conscious, or just want to eat clean without sacrificing flavor, Factor has chef-crafted options that actually taste like real food. Maybe you want pancakes for breakfast, chicken for lunch, and a steak for dinner. Factor has you covered. And here's the kicker. These meals are ready to go in just 2 minutes. That's less time it takes to scroll through your delivery app and regret your choices. So if you want to fuel your hustle without any hassle, then sign up for a Factor 75 subscription today. Use our code below, scan the QR code on the screen, or use our link in the description to get 50% off your order. Eat smart, live fully with Factor. And we are back. Again, the main event of tonight's Raw was LA Knight and Jimmy Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. So early on, Knight and Jimmy did work well together and had control until Reed headbutted Jimmy and gave the heels control during a break. The crowd chanted for Jimmy, who was cut down by Breaker's suplex. Jimmy avoided Reed's senton and made the taunt tag to LA Knight. Knight gave Breaker a neck breaker, but kind of didn't really capitalize on it much, which allowed Breaker to cut him off with a knee strike. Reed then tagged in, but Knight avoided a jagged edge, his DVD, Death Valley Driver, and hit a reverse DDT and an elbow drop. Jimmy would tag himself in and hit a Uso splash, but Breaker broke up the pin. Knight would then clothesline Breaker out of the ring, and Jimmy hit Reed with a suicide dive. Jimmy went for another, but Reed caught him with a forearm. Knight then attacked Reed and sent him back into the ring. Jimmy hit Reed with a super kick and a spear. Jimmy then went to the top. Breaker ran over Knight with a leaping shoulder tackle. Breaker then went for Jimmy, but Jimmy kicked him off the apron. The distraction then allowed Reed to hit Jimmy with a jagged edge and pin him to pick up the victory. The Vision does get the win here. Breaker then spears Jimmy after the match. So Jay would run out to make the save. Jay would attack both Brawns with a chair and then yeeted with the fans. The crowd would then gasp when LA Knight would grab the chair with Jay's back turned. Jay turned around and went face to face with LA Knight, but LA would drop the chair and offer Jay a handshake. Knight shook the hand, but then grabbed him, pulled him in, and dropped him with the BFT. Basically, getting his payback from last week. That's how the show went off the air. Jimmy checking on Jay, LA Knight getting his payback, and being like, I don't care about any of y'all. It's LA Knight's game. So very interesting end to the show. I don't think, I could be wrong here. I want to say I don't think LA Knight gets involved at WrestlePalooza, but that a big LA Knight Jey Uso singles match could be coming soon. Whether that's on an upcoming Raw or they build to it for the Perth show, because that's the next one. Crown Jewel Perth is, I believe, the next PLE after WrestlePalooza. But with that, guys, that is everything that took place tonight on Monday Night Raw. You know what I thought of the show. Now it's time to hear what you guys thought of tonight's show. Let's go and refresh all the polls. Oh, crap. Did I not do it? I thought I did a community poll. I guess we didn't do a community poll. Let me double check. Let me refresh it. Nope, I missed the community poll. I apologize on that one. But we have that poll. We have that poll. As far as the threads poll does go. What? The threads poll didn't go. I know I did a threads poll. Oh, there it is. It's just way down there. 76% liked the show. 24% thought it was just all right. Looking at the Twitter poll. 70% liked the show. 23% thought it was just all right. And 6% didn't like it. And looking at the live poll, 88% liked the show. 9% thought it was just all right. And 3% didn't like it. Finally, 67% thought the show was just all right on Twitch. And 33% liked it. With that, guys, that is going to wrap everything up. I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. With that, we should be back live on a Wednesday for AEW Dynamite. It's September to Remember, so it's a 3-hour block, which means, oof, that's a lot. That's a lot. We may or may not do a live recap of it. I'm not sure yet, especially with the new job. And I'll see how I'm feeling, you know, after day 1, going after day 2 and stuff schedule-wise. And because that show's going to end late. So we'll see how it all does play out. But with that, guys, have a great rest of your Monday night. Have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys. All right, if you're still watching live on Twitch, we're going to send you to me